And this is now where I'm putting my fire cider. The old way that I did in that huge jar, actually this huge jar right here that I'm currently still washing, seemed dangerous, basically. I was not about to get like listeria or something because it didn't seem like it was completely airtight. So my friend told me I definitely needed mason jars. I actually ended up finding them easily at Target. So, not cool, Target people, for telling me that there weren't mason jars when there were. Like, the small ones are mine that I already had, but I bought 2 of these big ones, so these are just gonna be, you know, God, I hope they're not leaking either, but these are gonna chill here for a while. For maybe like 2 more weeks. Basically, I've always had really bad allergies. Ever since I became like a teenager, and that's what my mom had, and so we both chalked it up to just genetics. Like, I've had bad allergies to animals and dust and basically anything, freaking anything, not food related, I might be allergic to. So I've always been like itchy and sneezy and sleepy and dopey and mopey and stock for like my whole adult life, and I usually just live with it, and I try not to take any like daily medication. It has recently come to my attention that I might have a sinus, like chronic sinus inflammation or chronic sinus infection, but like very mild. And those are just like the grossest adult, not sexy words I can think of right now. Maybe I have a deviated septum. I don't know, but I'm realizing that this is like, my sinuses is where everything begins, and they're like almost never feeling good. So I'm always like feeling like pressure behind my eyes and on my nose, and I feel like I can never breathe that well, especially when it's cold, like currently. And I wake up in the middle of the night really easily, which now I'm thinking, it started when I was like 25, but now I'm thinking it's often because I can't breathe or breathe properly. It's not like, it doesn't go completely into my lungs. So right now, even now, I just feel like it's not totally like clear in my passageways. I have no idea what to do. The obvious answer is to just go to the doctor. It just makes me tired. It makes me more prone to getting sick all the time. It makes me, my immune system. Lately, I've been realizing that my extremely difficult sinus problems and my allergies that I feel like I've had for 5 or 6 years now is maybe related to my diet. And as someone who has a history of like being really vigilant and like anal and anxious about my diet, that was not fun to think about, because I feel like I finally like mellowed out a lot and not worried about what I'm eating. I just feel very swollen and like hungover, especially after I eat things like Doritos or heavily sauced food, like salty food. Basically, none of this was even, I wasn't even conscious about any of this until this week when I went to my work friend's house for a holiday party, and then I also had a birthday party. And I ate a lot of like grilled cheese and a lot of like mac and cheese and some cake, and yeah, like, I know I talk about being like plant-based and like vegan, but I really sometimes end up eating some of that stuff at people's houses. Oh, and Doritos, like, it started as soon as I ate it, and I could feel my lymph nodes swell up. I could feel my throat, like my sinus was closed up and I couldn't breathe. And then it would last until like maybe 24 hours later. by which point things would finally subside. And I knew that it was 24 hours because I was like eating very lightly and just like mostly veggie soup for that whole day. And I was just feeling like garbage. I don't even remember how it occurred to me that like maybe it was diet related. So I just did like a little search and it came across like inflammatory issues with food and the elimination diet to figure out what you're possibly allergic to and all this stuff. And like, I am so desperate right now. And at that point where it's like, I really, really want to feel good. I'm always like feeling low-key sick, like I'm battling something. And I'm just so sick of it. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to do on YouTube. I'm personally like, I don't want to talk about food all the time and like diets. I really didn't want to be like gluten-free on top of being vegan and like all this stuff. But unfortunately, the main things I'm gonna have to cut out are gluten because I've been eating so much gluten, peanuts because it's so heavy on mold, and like all processed food like sugar. And I like eat pretty healthy now, even though I still eat all that stuff. Whenever I do, I'm just kind of like dabbling in it. It's not like I'm addicted to any of those things anymore like I used to with the pastries. So I think it's fine. Like it's totally fine. It's just not eating that stuff and then just like having to be even more annoying when I'm like going to parties and stuff. Luckily, I live in an area where like I have tons of friends who are gluten-free and there's tons of options, and you know, people don't care. They already know I'm weird. What I'm gonna eat tonight, I think, is a veggie soup. And I've been doing this thing where I boil a bunch of veggies and then immersion blend them until it's like nice and creamy. And then I like to put in whatever seasonings sound good. It ends up usually being turmeric and black pepper because of like anti-inflammatory purposes, health purposes, and some miso. Because I love the flavor and it's easy. Other times I boil things like a potato, a sweet potato to give it that creaminess, and a bunch of other stuff, sometimes beans and rice. But whatever it is, I kind of immersion blend it until it's almost all smooth. And it's really, really good in my opinion. Like for example, today I put in a lot of garlic because I really don't want to get sick. Onion, honestly, mushroom, like whatever you have that you need to use up, or just whatever you like to eat. Zucchini makes it really, what's the word? Creamy. This is turmeric. So it's always good. Put in some Bragg's, put in some apple cider vinegar, which I just did, so it's a little bit like sweet and sour. It's gonna be awesome. For what I have today, I think really smooth is the way to go. Yes, I am a little hesitant about this this plastic immersion blender, but I got it for free from my parents, so I'm just gonna use it for now. Oh my god. Here. Can we take a moment to acknowledge this Italian toaster I got from the internet? It's so funny. It's so funny. I love it. It's like you can do a whole long piece of toast. Shout out to long bread. And I just like how weird it is.